Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kana and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here I make videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 4. And today it's Friday and we are getting ready for Shabbat. All right, first off, it has been like the busiest week this week. There has been something going on like every single day. It's been a fantastic week. It's been a lot of fun. There was like a wedding last night. We've been at the park a lot with friends this week. Gorgeous weather. Today, it's quite a bit colder and windier. There's a huge cold front coming through and I may not leave the house next week. So we are here at the grocery store to pick up a couple of things that we need for Shabbat, as well as I just want to make sure we're stocked up on some basics so that I don't have to leave the house next week during the potential snowmageddon that may be happening. Okay, now don't laugh at me when I say snowmageddon. It may not snow at all. There's like a 50% chance of snow, I think, right now, last time I looked. But the temperatures are going to be getting down to like between like 5 and 10 degrees, which is crazy cold for us here in Texas. This sort of thing is not normal for us. So I will link to my Snowmageddon stuff down in the description box below because that was a whole thing a couple of years ago. And before all of you Canadians laugh at me, there's a couple of things you need to know. So like I said, this sort of cold is not normal for us here in Texas. So 2 things you need to know. 1, we are not prepared for this, like at all. Like you cannot buy a snow shovel here. You cannot go to the store and buy a snow shovel. Nobody owns a snow shovel. I don't even know how many people own like an ice scraper here. It's just like not so much of a thing for us because this weather is not normal. And so because it's not normal, also like the city isn't prepared for like with snow plows and things like that. So roads don't really get cleared, only maybe major roads. Also, what we get here is like ice. We get some snow, but then it melts and then it becomes ice when it refreezes. So even if there is snow, there's usually like ice under the snow. It's like ice is a big thing. And driving in snow is one thing. Driving in ice is totally different. So anyways, issues we have in Texas when it gets cold. So yeah, we are preparing for this crazy cold snap that I know everybody else is getting to. Like we're all getting crazy cold temperatures next week. And that is okay because this is what we are getting. Okay, before we run into the grocery store and pick up a couple of things, I wanted to tell you a little bit about today's video. So I have very little to do to get ready for Shabbat today. So there's not like a whole lot of Shabbat prep going on. But what I am going to do is kind of intersperse with whatever Shabbat prep I am going to be doing. I'm going to be telling you kind of a little recap of some of the stuff from last year. Every year around New Year's, I end up making a video sort of like this. I think every year. I know I did last year, where I kind of talk about like my plans for the year, my goals, and I'm going to kind of talk about like how last year went and my plans for this year because of how last year went. So we'll get to that. And I'll talk about like my reading a little bit from last year. And I'll also give a little school update and talk about my favorite thing that I got the kids for school this year. Okay. So all of that, and it's a major school update. Of course, it's always a major school update. Okay, so let's go in and get some groceries for Shabbat and some food for this cold spell. And that is what we'll do. And then when I get home, we will talk more. So, okay, let's go shop. Okay, we are back in the car. Yes, it's really sunny out today. Still, it was sunny before. Anyways, we are gonna head home now. It is so cold and windy outside. I kind of love it. And there's this TV inside of the grocery store, and every time we walked by, all the words you heard were like, winter storm next week, Arctic blast, you know. We walked by it like 3 times and we just kept hearing those sorts of words. So Yes, this is clearly going to be a focus of our lives next week. So anyways, we got everything that we needed, and now we're going to head home and do some more things there. Okay, chat soon. Okay, we are back home from the grocery store. I got things unloaded. I learned with my favruta, and now it's getting towards lunchtime. Okay, we're just having like deli sandwiches for lunch, so super duper easy, nothing much to do there. Mr. Firefly, however, has been busy in the kitchen all morning. He really wanted to do all the cooking for Shabbat this week. Totally cool with that. So he was cooking away. Here's a little bit of what our kitchen looks like right now and some of what he is working on preparing. Okay, so basically he is working on some sort of a roasted thing. He said he's never made it before, so we'll see if it turns out well. I'm sure that it will, because he is Mr. Firefly and he's an amazing chef. And then the eggplant, he's gonna be making some salads out of that. So that is basically where we were at with Shabbat Prep right now. I still have to set the table. I think there's like one more bag of groceries, or maybe it's an empty bag. I don't know. There's like stuff on the table I've got to put away. I cleared it all off this morning, and then of course by now there's stuff all over the table again. Also, for those of you keeping up with my tripod drama, the tripod is still broken, so I'm still kind of crunching down a little bit here. I did get a new tripod. It arrived, and I put it here in this office, and I can't find it. So I think it just got mixed up with my husband's stuff. Like maybe he thought that it was one of his boxes because he gets a lot of boxes for work. Anyways, I will figure that out and find it sometime this week. Okay. Anyways, I brought you guys in here to talk about a reading update. Okay. This is my reading journal from last year. And I had so much fun going through and making these beautiful pages for my books. It was really, really fun to go through. I did it for 38 books. That is how far I got. And then I just started sticking stuff that like I had started getting pictures ready to put in. And I just started sticking like pieces of paper in for books that I had read to go back later and add these things in. And then I have a stack of books over here on my table, which I have finished and that I have done absolutely nothing with as far as recording them anywhere in here. Okay, overall, that's what the bookshelf ended up looking like. My original goal for the year was to do 90 books. And where is my grand total? My grand total was 41 books. So I ended up doing 41 books, and I think that's pretty awesome. I think 90 was definitely a super ambitious goal. I did some different book challenges. So I did the A to Z book challenge, and I wasn't like trying to look for books that started with every letter of the alphabet, but it was fun to go through and see how far that I could get. I did the rainbow book challenge. That one was easy to get all the colors of the rainbow. That was a fun one. I was doing a battle of the books, which as you can see, I fell off of and never finished. And I was doing the Literary Life podcast reading challenge. I did not finish that one, and I really pretty much knew starting out that I wasn't going to finish it. But it was a really fun challenge, and it did inspire some of my reading this year. So that was a lot of fun. And then I did the 5x5 reading challenge, which this is the one you guys asked me about the most. So I will talk about this just a little bit. So I did the Torah books, which I did through the Naomi, and I completed all of that. For Jane Austen was one of my categories. I read Mansfield Park, Sense and Sensibility, Northanger Abbey, and Emma. I did not do Pride and Prejudice yet. So I will get to that this year at some point for sure. For children's literature, I did Pinocchio on the Banks of Plum Creek, Charlotte's Web again, and The Green Ember. I just didn't finish Little White Horse. And then for biographies, I did the Baba Sully, Rebbetzin Kanievsky, Henny Machlis, and the book Holy Woman. I was going to do Rav Avad Yosef also, and I did not get to Rav Avad Yosef. And then I did another category of cozy mysteries, because I just usually do those as audiobooks, and that was super easy just to get another category of fun, kind of just fun background reading. So that was like a mostly success, and I'm really happy with the categories that I chose and how I was able to get across those topics. And then yeah, that was my bookshelf for the year. which again, I thought I would feel like both sides. I did not, and that is okay. And then some of my favorite books this year, I did talk about that, but it was Holy Woman Charlotte's Web, the Living Tehillim book, Sense and Sensibility, Battle Cry of Freedom, the Rebbetzin Kanievsky book, the Henny Maklis book, Little Women, The Sweetest Hour, and Shalom Rav, which is a commentary on the Parsha. I never filled in final thoughts. Will I? I don't know. Will I ever do anything else in this book? Honestly, I don't know. Okay, so what I learned from that is that it was a lot of fun, but it was also really time consuming. I love it. I'll keep it. I don't know for how long, because I tend not to be super sentimental, but I won't do anything like that this year. In the future, I think it would be fun to come back to and do something like that. But I think this year I am going to just read without categories, without challenges, without anything. I'm just going to read whatever feels fun for me and just call it that. I am definitely doing the Naomi program again, so I know I'll keep up with all of that reading, and because I love to do that reading with a commentary and then listen to classes. I know that there's a series of books that my neighbor has that she thinks that I will love. I want to read that. I don't really know what else I'm going to read this year, but I don't know. It's going to be fun. There's some nonfiction that I'd really like to get to. I think that I'd like to go back and probably do a lot of rereads of some of my favorite homeschooling books. So yeah, that's kind of my reading plans for the year. It's just sort of whatever I feel like, several rereads. I don't know how many audiobooks I'm going to do. I don't love audiobooks because I have trouble concentrating on them, but I will probably do Pride and Prejudice as an audiobook because I find it easier than reading Jane Austen is to have it read to me, or at least to read along with the book while someone else is reading it. I don't know, it's just the thing, it's Jane Austen with the language, just a little tougher. But anyways, that's where we are with reading. I wanted to give you guys that little reading update. So yeah, basically keeping it a lot more casual this year, which kind of leads me to my other point that I wanted to talk about. Last year, I started the year with like a million checklists and a million goals. I was gonna walk this many miles. I was gonna read this many books. I was gonna have this many hours outside and all these things, which were really great goals. But as soon as I sort of got to where I was like, oh no, I'm failing, I quit all of it. It's something that I definitely learned about myself this year, which, you know, hey, at 42, I'm finally getting to know myself. I tend to set huge goals and make big plans, and then as soon as those things start to not work out exactly the way that I thought they would, I tend to be like, well, I'm a failure, so I quit. So it's a character flaw. And it's something that I can be more aware of now, and it's also something that I can be more aware of as I start my planning. So instead of having all of these checklists and big goals and things like that, I think I'll take the habits that I was able to create through those big goals from last year, because they did help me to create some better habits, which is good. Carry those good habits with me. And then if I feel I need to readjust them with checklists at some point to maintain the goals, the habits, then I can. But at this point, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. But I just want to focus this year on creating like more magic at home, more wonder, more just like marveling over the first green leaf on the tree outside, or bringing the kids out to see the sunset, making fresh baked cookies to have for school in the morning. Like those little things, putting sprinkles in the pancakes, like whatever the thing is. Yeah, food is one of my love languages. So whatever the thing is, just find these little pockets of magic that I can bring into the kids' lives. Like we were reading this book, we're doing this botany unit for school right now, and we're reading this book, and one of the things that this botanist did in the book was they got these pieces of paper that like when you put them in the sunshine and you put something on top of it, it makes like a print of that thing that you put on top of it. I'm not explaining this well at all, but I bought some of that paper. It's called cyanotype paper. So, but you could see what it does, these pictures, when you put the thing on top of it. I don't know about the cat. I don't know what the deal is with the cat, but like you can put a leaf on top of the paper and you put the paper out in the sun and then you run the paper underwater and then the leaf appears. So I got the paper, we're gonna do it too. So just kind of bringing a little more magic into everyday life. Just a little bit more of that wonder, a little bit more of that fun, just really focusing on making those strong, memorable experiences through all of the everyday things that we do. Okay, I'm sure that there are other things that I wanted to update you guys on. I was going to do a homeschool update, but I will save that here for a little bit. For now, let's go work on some cleanup, maybe getting the table set, maybe some laundry, we've got some stuff to do. So we'll loop back to the homeschool update a little bit later on. But for now, those are some big updates. So I am happy with how last year went. I'm excited for this year. It's going to be a good year. Okay. Hey friends, okay, while I am here cleaning off my table, clearing it, tidying it, putting things away where they belong, I just wanted to take a quick moment to ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed. I would really love to see you here again. And on that note, please give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying. And hey, if you're still here, you're probably enjoying. So go ahead and give me that thumbs up. I would really, really appreciate it. And drop me a comment down below and let me know how things are going for you. I would love to get that conversation started. I'd love to hear what plans you have for the new year, how your year went last year, any changes you're making because of how last year went. Let's just get that conversation going and get to know each other a little bit better. All right, now that the table is cleared off, I am moving on to arranging the flowers here for Shabbat. And then after that, I'll be able to do the tablecloth and put the plates on and all of that. But anyways, what I'm doing first is actually arranging the roses that were still good from last week. Most of the flowers had dried. A lot of the roses had started really wilting really badly. But this handful of roses here that I put in a little jar, I feel like they are going to last me at least a few more days. So I am going to keep those as long as I can. I'll put them in the kitchen or something like that so we can all enjoy them. Okay, so for this week's flowers, I picked up some roses and then just a couple of different kinds of greenery. The greenery that I put down there at the base, unfortunately, wilted and died within 24 hours. So that was unfortunate. I did add plenty of water. That wasn't an issue. I don't know what the issue was. Maybe they were just old, but the rest of the flowers are still looking good. So that is nice. Okay, made some progress there. Mr. Firefly is still doing some cooking. I've gotten the table cleared off and the flowers done. So I just need to set the table and then clean the kitchen. But obviously I can't do that until Mr. Firefly is finished cooking. I have been in there a little bit here and there cleaning up. But anyways, I came in here to our little classroom area to do our little homeschool update. Okay, so I started last year with a giant curriculum that I had written that we did not use. I mean, I never finished writing it, so that's okay. I just mostly had all of my plans for it. And again, that's okay. We started out using it. It became too overwhelming because I overplanned, which is a homeschool mom problem, not just me. And then we had travel, we had the high holidays, we had the war, we had some other things. There was just a lot of things that got in the way. And then I became overwhelmed and was like, we'll never get it done. And so I sat down, reassessed everything, took us down to a bare minimum of what do we have to do? Okay, yes, we have to do math. We have to do language arts. We have to do Hebrew. What are the things that, to me, if we get them done, is it a successful school day? Without all of the fluff and extras, which all of the fluff and extras, Shakespeare, poetry, etc., very important to me and a very important part to my children's education. But do we have to do them every single day, every single year? No. Do we need to do math? Yes. At that point, I created a notebook system. Okay, so what I did is I just got an old notebook that I had and I wrote up here all the things that I really wanted to get done that day. These are the things we need to do together as a group that absolutely have to get done. And then down here, I put each of my school-age children and a list of individual things that they need to get done each day. Okay, the math, the language arts, the things like that. And then what I did is I added on here any extras that we did in the morning, and down here, anything extra that we did the rest of the day. So for this day, for example, I knew I wanted to do geography and history. So I wrote down what I wanted to cover for those two subjects. We ended up also reading 2 picture books, so I wrote those down as well. And then I had my individual lessons, which included language arts, Hebrew, math for everyone, as well as halakha, Jewish law, and typing for my oldest. Okay. And then I started writing down other things that we did, which were some poetry, how we went on a walk to discuss certain things that we were doing in school. We listened to several podcasts because we were out in the car a lot that afternoon. So we listened to a nature study podcast and 2 Parsha podcasts. And I just wrote it all down because that is all part of our learning and education. So it's kind of a mix of planning ahead and planning behind. And so what I did is I filled this notebook up with all of my plans of my must need to get done every day. So if you look at a day further down the row, it looks more like this. You know, it's mostly blank. There's just a few things on there. So this day also has history and geography. We do some history every day. We don't do geography every day. I just happen to pick a geography day. We do science as well in that time, but we alternate between science and geography. And anyways, down at the bottom, they all have Hebrew, language arts, and math. This day, for whatever reason, one of my kids doesn't have math, probably because they're almost done with their math book and didn't need to do a lesson that day. But anyways, I just kind of put like the bare minimum there, and then anything else we'll just add on, and I'll mark it off with a highlighter. That way I can still see what we've done. And I can look back and be like, yes, I really am accomplishing something. And it's very motivating. Okay, so for next year, I went ahead and already got myself a notebook. So this notebook has 300 pages. So there's 150 sheets. Each sheet is lined and there's a spot to put a date at the top. And yes, I know I'm getting started on next year really early, but next year will be here before I know it. So it's time to go ahead and start planning it. And so what I've got, I put a little title page there at the front. And then I put in a list of all kind of fun days that we can be celebrating together, like International Spaghetti Day, Dr. Seuss's birthday, Pie Day, Star Wars Day, Fibonacci Day, Red Planet Day, all kinds of fun things that we can celebrate and that can add in extra learning into our school through these fun things. And then the next page after that, I put like some morning time extra things. So like these are the extra things. Like I've got my 2 things, like, you know, science and history that we're doing one day. And then I can look at this list and say, okay, you know what? Things are going well. What else can we do? And I can look at this and I can say, oh, let's do a little Shakespeare, or, oh, let's do some Mad Libs, or read some fairy tales, or sing some folk songs, or like whatever the thing is that I choose from the list that we will do that day. And then my next page here is some afternoon endeavors. So basically this is just like another list of things that we can do together, like handicrafts, composer study, nature journals, family read alouds, go for a hike, listen to audiobooks. Like these are things that we can do together as a family in the afternoon that will again add to our education. So then I have a few blank pages and I'm going to add some titles. One page will be novels that we read, and then several pages of picture books that we read. And my plan for that is to print out tiny little pictures of the covers of the books that we read and put them onto those pages. So that way I just have like a fun visual record of some of the things that we have read during the year for school. Okay, so then the way that I'm setting up my pages here for the rest of the year is I'm writing morning time here at the top, and that's where I'll list, you know, those big subjects that we do together in the morning before we kind of go to our individual lessons, which are like the history, the geography, the science, anything like that. And then down here at the bottom, I have afternoon endeavors, and that's where I can write down anything that we've done together in the afternoon. Like if we spent the day at the park doing some fire building, or if we listened to a podcast on the way, or if we cooked dinner together, or did our nature journals, or took a painting lesson online, or like whatever those things are, I'll write them all down there. Because again, that's just so encouraging. So this is like the planning ahead part. And then this is what we call planning from behind, where you write down what you've done. And so then right here underneath the marker, I just have a list of my children's names, 1, 2, and 3. So I can put their little column lists of those basic things that I want them to be getting done. And again, I'm just covering the very basics in my planning and then adding on all of the other things. And I'm going into the year with the intention of adding on a lot. which is why there's a lot of space for that. So the point is for me to not feel overwhelmed by what I have to do and not feel like I'm so far behind that there's no point in continuing. I think that that's going to help us stay a lot more on track and be able to spread things out throughout the year a lot better. And I am planning for about a 120 day school year because that's how many math lessons they have. So that is the big school update. Not much, I guess. I mean, it's huge, but like it's simple. The idea, the concept is so simple. Why didn't I think of this before? So anyways, I think I finally found a good system that is going to work for me and for the kids. So far, I have to tell you, so far this notebook thing, we've been doing it for not that long. It's been amazing. It has been so amazing, so encouraging to see how much we get done in a day when I write everything down. And it's so good to know that I've gotten done the things that are so important for me that we get done. And I'm finding that we're able to do more school than ever this way, which is so fantastic. So, okay, that's my update there. I'm gonna go set the table for Shabbat. Oh, I forgot. One of the homeschool things that I wanted to tell you guys was my favorite homeschool purchase this year. And that was individual whiteboards for the kids. So these have one side is plain white and one side has the lines for handwriting. The kids have been practicing their copywork on these, their math. They're using them so much. So first of all, they love them. Second of all, it's saving a ton of paper. So I'm going to drop a link to these below. Again, not an affiliate link or anything like that. Just a super useful homeschool supply that we have been loving this year. And then the only other homeschool update that I had is, it's really more for next year. I can't find something good to replace this year with. If you have any suggestions for modern history, let me know. We're doing modern history right now. But we are doing currently Story of the World. Where is it? It's over here. Story of the World Volume 4, which is the modern history. And honestly, it's not love. It is like really just not love. I don't like the way that some of the history is presented. I think it feels a little biased. I think it feels a little unresearched in parts. And it's also just like a little bit all over the place. And I get modern history is harder to keep things super chronological and still cover the important things, but hold on. So the other thing about volume 4 that I didn't love is there were certain topics that I felt were really, really big that they were not covering in any appropriate amount of depth. And then there were really tiny things that seemed pretty unimportant that they were covering in depth. And I was like, or at least in more depth, like you have 42 chapters and you're putting a whole chapter on this and only one chapter on this. Like it just seemed a little not the way I would have set up a history curriculum. And then looking back at volume 1, which is what I had planned to go back and loop around again and do next year, it just, the last time we did that, my 5th grader was in 1st grade. It's fine for a 1st grader. It'd be fine for my middle 2 kids, but for my next year going to be a 6th grader, like it's just not, he needs more than that. So we decided to switch. I'm going to switch to History Quest. I've already ordered it. It's coming next week, so I can be arranging my planning for next year. I'm really excited about this one. It looks a lot better. It's like similar but different. And then I'm going to look into it. It has less lessons, and then I can supplement with other resources where I would like to go deeper. And we'll start that back at ancient times. So I'm super excited. Our first loop through history. So okay, that's my big homeschool update. That's all the homeschool updates. Okay, now we're gonna go and work on the table. Okay, friends, we are getting close to Shabbat starting, so I'm going to go ahead and close out this video here. The only thing I wanted to add on for the homeschool updates is that I am not going to be dating any of the pages. I'll write the date down on the page we do on the day that we end up actually doing it. So again, just giving myself that flexibility there. I might go through and add page numbers, or I guess like what number that day of school is, so that I can easily see, okay, I have this many days of school left. This is the current date in the calendar. So I can kind of plan, am I on the right track for finishing, so that we can take the summer off if we choose. So yeah, just kind of looking at it like that. Still kind of tweaking it, but I'm pretty excited about it and I love it. Okay, have a couple of last minute things to do here before Shabbat starts. Like I just want to empty the dishwasher because I ran a couple loads of dishes today, so that still hasn't been done yet for the second load. And other than that, I'm probably it. I'll just check the lights, make sure things are on or off. My lamp is plugged in, things like that. But yeah, I think we're pretty well good to go. The next Shabbat prep video will be a more normal Shabbat prep video. But again, today was fairly unexciting. So I was glad I got to chat with you about those kind of New Year-ish things and updates, because we just haven't done updates in a while. All right. Deep breaths. Shabbat's almost here. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. As always, I super appreciate it. All right. And with that, we're done. Thank you all so much for being here. As always, I super appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload. All right, so let us go into the grocery store right now, grab a few things, and head home. Oh, I was going to tell you about this video today.